everybody, welcome to episode 4 of Barley, Hops, and Yarn, the podcast edition. My name is Jennifer. I am the owner, dyer, operator, etc. of Barley, Hops, and Yarn. Thank you to everybody that has viewed my podcast so far, and thank you to anyone that's new. I hope you enjoy it and stick around, and if not, that's cool too. I live in Maryland with my husband, parents, 2 cats, and a dog. They probably won't make an appearance, any of them, in the podcast because I have the door closed. Last episode, which was 2 weeks ago, I think I'm trying to do like a every 2-week schedule. I think that's my ultimate goal. I did kind of a vlog style. This episode is just going to be me. Well, last episode was me too. That was a stupid thing to say. This episode is just going to be like a one-day thing. I didn't record any clips prior for the past 2 weeks. It's just been a little hectic and I haven't really felt like I had anything to say. I rotated my plant because, I'm supposed to rotate him or whatever, and now I have this little guy just like in my chair and in my space. So I keep accidentally knocking him over, but otherwise he was just going to keep going in that direction and I don't want that. Anyway, there's rambling for my plant. Again, thank you to anyone watching this. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this is a podcast knitting, and I talk about other parts of my life and books I read. Did I just say podcast knitting? I have no idea what I just said, but I think I said it backwards. It's a knitting podcast. I also dye yarn, so obviously, based on what I just said, I don't know. I'm not editing any of this, so it's gonna be a mess, and that's okay. Obviously, since I am the dyer of Barley, Hops, and Yarn, that means I dye yarn too, so sometimes you'll see things that I've dyed on here. One of my whips I'm making with something that I have dyed myself, so I'll show some of that off here and there as time goes on. Ooh, I just remembered something I want to pull up and into space that I can reach. Yeah, so on to knitting, I suppose. First thing I will show y'all, which I think you've seen almost every episode except for the first one because I forgot to pull it out, is my sorrel. Last time y'all saw it, see, normally I go like this. Whatever. Last time y'all saw it, I had just finished the charting. I don't think I had split, or maybe I had just split for sleeves. I had split for sleeves because I tried it on. No, I didn't. Whatever. It doesn't matter that much. I have my marker in here. It's on the inside. It's right there. So I think what it was last time I had gotten to right before splitting for seams, so I finished the charting and I took it off the needles and put it on waste yarn to try it on. So I haven't been working on this one too much just because it's been kind of my at-home knitting, and I don't know, I haven't felt like working on it that much. I was like, okay, I finished the charting, now I'm good. But I'd like to be able to wear it, so that means I need to finish it. So for now, I have obviously done the charting, I have split for my sleeves, and then I've done about 3 inches. And I was just working on planning it out a couple minutes ago, and I did almost all of the charting in my color 1, and I only have 3 colors. So I feel like I was gonna do the cropped version, which would have me doing about 5 inches of color 2 before I start incorporating in color 3. But I feel like that's going to be too little of the colors, because basically I have almost 11 inches of color 1 here, and then I'll have, like 2 inches of the mixture, and then 5 inches of color 2, and then 2 more inches of the mixture. So I'm just not sure that it'll look right with just only 5 inches of color 2. So now I'm toying around with the idea of doing a full-length sweater, but I only have 3 colors. So I'm afraid I'll run out of yarn. So my current game plan is to knit for about 5 inches. That would be 2 more inches of color 2, and then weigh and see what I'm at. Excuse me, and then switch. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys about my beer. I failed. Okay. So, Barley, Hops, I like beer. I go to breweries a lot. I knit at breweries a lot, so I thought I'd incorporate my love of beer with my love of knitting, and that is how I got my name. So last episode, because life was hectic and I just didn't feel like drinking, or was recording at 8 o'clock in the morning, where depending on what you're doing, I guess you could have a drink, but I could not have a drink. So normally I will have at least one beer to show you throughout. So this, see, I'm struggling with what side my camera's on. This is from Flying Dog Brewery, which is a local to me brewery. It's called Double Dead Rise. It is an Imperial Summer Ale with Old Bay in it. So I know last week, or not last week, it was 2 weeks ago. Last episode I did tell you guys about trying a beer that I kind of added Old Bay to on my own because of a different brewery event. But this is legitimately meant to have Old Bay in it. What does this say? You freaks who lick the crusty Old Bay residue off your freshly steamed blue crabs, this beer is for you. Okay, so, well, that's me. If you know anything about Maryland, you know that we like crabs and we like Old Bay. So, that's this guy here. Basically, if you like Old Bay, you will like to have at least one of these. I don't normally have more than one because then it's just too much Old Bay. This is my first time having the double Dead Rise though. Normally I just have the straight Dead Rise. So this is 9% ABV and the straight Dead Rise I assume is 4.5. I don't remember. This is definitely stronger in Old Bay flavor than the other one is, which I mean, I guess makes sense, but either way, it's good. I like it. Judge me all you want. I do not care. What else does it say? Highlights the bold spiciness of Maryland's most beloved seasoning. See, Maryland's most beloved seasoning. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Back to the actual knitting. Yeah, so I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to 5 inches, which is just 2 more to go, and then I'll weigh and see where I'm at for my yarn. I do have extra of color 2 because I also made a pair of socks in it, so I have 2 skeins of that, but I don't want it to be like a ton of color 1 and then a ton of color 2 and then just like a little bit of color 3 because I feel like that'd be weird. So we'll see. I will of course keep you all updated, but that's where I'm at for this. So if I still have enough, if I feel safe, because I don't want to play yarn chicken, if I feel safe with the amount of yarn I have left after 5 inches, then I might up it to like 7-ish and then go from there. But yeah, this is where I'm at with my sorrel for now. Then I have, this is gonna be kind of weird to show you guys because it's so roly poly. Anyway, this is the top half of an opal tank. I don't remember who the pattern is by. There's dog hair on it. Top half of an opal tank. It's, you make the front and then you make the back and then you seam them together. But yeah, so I finished this literally like 2 hours ago. Hadn't worked on it in a little while and decided to go back to working on it. Because, you know, it's cold outside now, so let's make a tank top, shall we? Whatever. I am making this one in my Hell or High Watermelon colorway. It's one of my favorite ones to make, actually. I don't know if it's that my lighting in here is weird or that my eyesight is weird, or both. Both is totally possible. Stop doing that. Sorry, it's chaotic in my brain today. It's chaotic in my brain every day, but it's extra chaotic today. Anyway, so we've got like a little bit of greenish blue, some pink, yellow. It's inspired, the colorway itself was inspired by the artwork on the can of the Hell or High Watermelon beer. That is a seasonal, it's only out in the spring and it's made by 21st Amendment Brewery. It's the only beer by 21st Amendment that my local beer store sells. And anytime I walk in, I'm like, do you have this beer? They're like, you know, it's the only one we have, whatever. Yeah, so last time y'all saw it was at that stitch marker there, which is like a little ember that I got with Arkansas Yarn Co. I did their Advent, their Nightmare Before Christmas Advent last year. So I had to do a few more inches, a few more inches of just straight knitting and then started decreasing for the boobage part. So there's that. I'm really excited with how this one turned out. I'm a little concerned that it's going to be too small though. I assume that I will wear it with a sports bra, so I'm doing it based off of sports bra measurement, which is usually like 47, 48. And I know that this yarn is going to grow when I block it, So I sized down and I'm making the large size, and I think the large size is like 46 or 47 for the bust circumference. I'm afraid I'm gonna regret that, and if I do regret it, then I will either gift it to somebody or I'll just frog it and make it over again. It's not like I don't have access to the yarn easily. But we'll see. Hopefully it fits. I'm gonna block it before I seam it and figure that out from there. Yeah. Then the other thing y'all saw, I do not match it this time, which I have a color vibe. That's what I called my last episode, is my Vanilla is the New Black sock. I have not gotten too much further since y'all last saw it. Last time you saw it, I was just about to the heel part. I had like 4 more rows to go before I had the length I wanted for my leg, and then was starting the heel. But I have just now started, there we go. I've just now started the heel, so it has like this kind of V shape, which I'm hoping will feel nice on my heel. It looks like it'll feel nice on my heel, but I don't know. This is my first time making this. I'm not a huge fan of the pattern. For some reason, the way it's written, my brain just wasn't quite computing what I was supposed to be doing. And I don't usually, excuse me, sorry. I usually prefer to use the written pattern as opposed to the chart. But for this one, it is the opposite. I'm definitely choosing or preferring to read the chart just because the way the pattern is written, I don't know, doesn't really make much sense to me. I'm not going to give anything away because it's a paid for pattern, but I don't know, the way it's written, I'm like, I don't understand what it's saying. So thankfully the chart is fairly simple enough that I'm understanding it well. I don't know what to call this guy that I'm going to show you next, because it's not a finished object. It's not a new object. I mean, it's technically a finished object, but I didn't make it anytime recently. But my hair, on the first day I had to go over to the hospital. My hair was an atrocious mess because that's just how I roll. So I decided to put it in braids and wear a hat. And I was wearing a shirt that had green in it, and I made my husband a green hat. And I was like, hey babe, can I borrow your hat? Because it'll go with my shirt. And none of the hats that I've made for myself will go with my shirt. And he said yes. So I pulled it out, wore the hat, and then realized there was a hole in it. And I was very sad. I have never before repaired a hole in my knitting, so that was new for me. But I did it. You can't even tell. It was right there. I mean, I guess you can kind of tell. I don't know, I can tell because I did it and I know where it was, and I haven't woven in the ends yet, so they're still back there. But I am very proud of myself. It's actually the first thing I've ever repaired, which, don't judge me. Usually if it has a hole, I just ignore it or pretend it's not there, or I let it sit there. Or depending on where the hole is, I might just like frog back and then reknit. Because for some reason I found repairing my holes intimidating, but I got on YouTube and watched a couple tutorials and figured it out, and then yeah, no more hole. So I'm very proud of myself for that. I hope you're proud of me too. I'm kidding. Anyway, although I don't know what's up with the way this end is. We'll see. Oh, no, okay, never mind. I figured it out. Sorry. Thank you for joining me on that journey of figuring out why the end is wonky. I got it. We're good. Last but not least, last episode, you all saw a hoe. I was doing a test knit for Sarah R for their Sylvie shorties, and I now have a finished object of those. I've worn them already. I enjoyed the pattern, the textured pattern of the knit. I did not enjoy the heel, which is a German short row heel. I know part of that, and I discussed last episode, part of that is because I was doing it on 9-inch circs, and it just was like awkward to try to finagle that on 9-inch circs. And then part of it is because now that I've worn them a couple of times, I just don't like how it feels on my heel. It always feels like, you know how when you have your socks in your shoe and they're just about to fall off your foot? That's how this heel feels to me. So I will probably never make something again with the German short row heel, but I really do like the textured part up top here. It was really easy to read. It was, this pattern doesn't have written out instructions at all. So if you are new, let's put it that way, and then you see the cute little bumblebee. If you're new to chart reading, I would definitely recommend this sock pattern because it was really easy to follow the chart. And then once you're able to kind of get a couple of repeats in, it was easy to read your knitting and figure out where you were. So I do really like this pattern. I really liked the chart and the way the chart was written up. I just don't like the heel. So if I ever make a pair of socks like these again, I probably will alter it and not do the German short row heel. I don't know what other heel I'd do, but I would not do the German short row heel just because I did not enjoy knitting it and I don't enjoy how it feels on my feetsies. But they're very comfortable. They're very squishy. They keep your foot warm, so I like them. Again, I don't know who this yarn, I didn't talk about any of the yarns. My sorrel is Lord of the Rings collection from Fantasy Fibers Company. I talked about my opal knit because that was me and I'm a selfish bitch. And then this is Cows in the Trees by At Haynes House. Anyway, don't know who this yarn is by. I bought it a couple of years ago. By a couple of years ago, I mean I bought it in 2019. Promptly lost the ball band. Whatever. I know it's DK. I know it's 100% merino, superwash. That's all that mattered. I did end up using, I think it was like 83 grams of this yarn, which was more than I expected to. Sorry, I have an itch. Okay, I don't know why I expected to use less than that, but for some reason I expected to use less for DK shorty socks, but whatever, that's how much I used. But yeah, so again, there are these guys. Have a finished pair of them, and I'm excited that they're done. I will, of course, link the pattern down below so y'all can find it, and I will update my video from last episode and update the description so that has the link as well because the pattern has officially been posted. I don't know how much it costs because I haven't looked at that. Sock pattern, I can't imagine it'd be that much money. Okay, so there's all of that. If you only want to watch knitting stuff, then goodbye. I'm done with knitting stuff. I don't think I have anything else to discuss. Oh yes, I do. I got a DM out of the blue a week or two ago from Dorothy, who is the organizer of Columbia Sip and Knit. Sips and Knit? Sip and Knit? I don't know. That's horrible, but I don't know which is the proper way, but we'll say SMP. SMP? SNK. Anyway, got a DM from Dorothy. Asking if I would like to do a trunk show for an event that they are having for their group. And apparently Aquila from a Lefty Knitter podcast mentioned or suggested me to Dorothy. So we've kind of coordinated that, and I will be doing my very first trunk show at the end of October for this event that Dorothy is organizing for the Columbia Sip and Knit group. I'm very excited about that, but I have been doing, well, not but, I don't know why I said but, I'm very excited about that. I'm so grateful for Aquila to being so supportive of me. I don't always feel like I deserve that kind of support, but I have it, and it's nice to know that there are people out there, especially Aquila and Johnny, who have been supporting me throughout this whole journey of being a yarn dyer. So my Peanuts collection, I have it completely listed as made to order. I didn't have anything when I was making the colorway in the collection. I didn't have anything pre-made. So if you order it in the shop, I have to make it and ship it out. My time frame for that, I think I have listed as 5 to 7 days to ship. So because of that, and now I'm doing this trunk show, I was like, shit, I have to have this yarn in stock. So I've been spending pretty much all of my free time dyeing that yarn, so I have it ready to go at the end of October. But I'm very excited. I cannot wait for it to happen. It'll be my first trunk show. It'll be my first in-person event of any kind. So I'm excited. And I've said that a couple times already, but I don't have any other words for it. Okay, now I'm done with the knitting and the yarn. I don't have much else to talk about life-wise. My family member that was in the hospital is now out of the hospital, so it has been very exciting. I think that's the only word I know this week, exciting. That'll be my title. It's exciting. And I have such a flat affect when I say things are exciting too. Whatever. I promise I'm excited, I just have a flat face. Yeah, so very, very happy that the family member is no longer in the hospital and is doing much better than they were. It's still going to be an uphill journey from here, but hopefully it's like a slower uphill as opposed to just a straight up. So thank you for the thoughts and prayers and concerns and reaches out that I've had regarding that. I really appreciate it. But because I have not been working as much at my real job, not that this isn't a real job, but at my not creative job, we'll say, I've been listening to a lot of books. So all in all, I think I'm at 10 books for the past 2 weeks. We'll say 9.5, because one I had already started and have been working on for a while. But I've listened to 3 series of 3. 2 were by Jennifer Amaya. I read the Wicked series by her and the Storm and Fury series. They're both fantasy, like young adult fantasy. One is somebody had basically just graduated from high school, and one was kind of college age for the protagonist of the story. But they each had a character that I really, really loved. So I definitely, if you like kind of young adult fantasy, there is romance in there, so if you don't like that, don't listen or read. But if you like kind of the young adult fantasy with some romance in there, I definitely recommend those 2 series. They were kind of easy reads, nothing too heavy or intense, which was good for being able to just focus on what I needed to focus on for my at-home family life, as opposed to listening or reading something that I had to pay attention to. The other series that I listened to while I was spending so much time at the hospital itself was the Fogg series by Jayne and Krentz. Yeah, Krentz. And I have another friend that was listening to that, and she recommended it to me. And the way I describe it is if a Hallmark movie had a paranormal vibe to it and was also a book. So I didn't realize it was going to be a paranormal book. Well, I don't know the paranormal is the right way to phrase it. Basically, people, they're not like psychics. They wouldn't call themselves psychics, but the rest of us probably would. They can see like people's auras and stuff like that. So it's nothing super out there, but it's definitely sci-fi-ish. But yeah, all 3 books had like the same exact storyline. It was just a different set of characters each time. So it was great because I could tune out and then come back into it 15 minutes later and not really have missed much. So if you need something that like you need to listen to or read something that's kind of gonna help distract you from what's going on, but nothing too heavy, it's like a beach read, but a Hallmark movie style beach read with a paranormal feel to it, I would recommend it. And then the last thing is The Shadow Rising, which is the 4th book of the Wheel of Time series. I have been working my way through that for a few months now. The Shadow Rising specifically, I think I've been reading it for 2 months, and it's just taken me that long to get through it. There's just a lot in it because it's a 14-book series. So if you really want a fantasy novel that you can deep dive into, definitely recommend it. But if you're not at a place where you can deep dive, then hold off until you are. Because that's why it's taken me two months to get through that one book, just because there's been so much going on in life. But yeah, I've started the 5th book. I don't remember what it's called. I have that information on my phone, which is what I'm using to record, so who knows, maybe I'll finish it in the next 2 weeks. For that series, I've been going back and forth between reading the hard copy of the book and listening. The 5th book, which is the one I'm on now, is 36 hours for audio, and I read much faster than I listen read. So that's part of why I've been going back and forth, to just try to get through it a little bit faster. But yeah, so we'll see if I can manage to make it through that one in the next 16 days, which is how much longer I have on the audiobook, but I have the book from, like, the book from the library, so I have plenty of time for that. Yeah, I don't have anything else to report. That's kind of my update. Nothing else is going on in my life. I have the upcoming trunk show. I am going to spend a day down in DC, but I'll probably talk about that either next episode or the episode after, so no reason to go over all of it now. Talked about the books, talked about my knitting. Yeah, it's pretty much where I'm at. So thank you guys for joining me. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you have anything to say about anything. I read all of the comments, not that I've gotten very many because I'm still a baby podcaster. I don't know when you stop being a baby podcaster, but I'm still a baby podcaster. So read all the comments, interact with them, and I love to hear from you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great 2 weeks, and I'll see you soon. Bye.